I could already feel it. That tight invisible pressure settling in my chest. The moment I stepped through the front door, the smell of roasted chicken and garlic, mashed potatoes filled the air. But it did nothing to ease the familiar tension that always came with these family dinners. Aunt Rachel and Uncle Mark's house looked picture. Perfect spotless floors, elegant table settings and that cozy suburban warmth. But behind all that, a mess of unspoken grudges and forced smiles. "Ah, Sophia," Aunt Rachel's voice rang out, warm but slightly strained, like she had been holding her breath all evening. Come in, come in. It's been too long. Had it I saw them last month." But I played along, hugging her quickly before scanning the room. And there she was, Lisa draped over the couch like she owned the place, sipping wine like she was at some exclusive gala instead of a family gathering. Her dark hair was styled to perfection, her nails freshly manicured. Everything about her screamed money except of course, for the fact that none of it was hers. Lisa and I grew up together but we had never been close. It was always this air about her, like she was born deserving more than the rest of us. And over the years that entitlement only grew, while I worked my way through college and built my own career. Lisa had mastered the art of doing absolutely nothing, except of course expecting things to be handed to her. I barely had time to set my purse down, before she spotted me. "Sophia." Her voice was overly sweet, dripping with sincerity. "Look at you, working woman and all. Still at that office job, huh?" I bit back a sigh. "Here we go, still working, yeah," I replied, keeping it short. Lisa smiled, but there was something sharp in her eyes. "Good for you. Not everyone has the patience for that kind of thing." I knew exactly what she meant. Lisa had never worked a day in her life. Her parents, blessed them, kept her afloat, buying her cars, covering her expenses, pretending she wasn't a walking liability. Before I could respond, Uncle Mark called everyone to the table. I exhaled, relieved to have a brief escape. Lisa's passive-aggressive commentary. The dining room was just as polished as the rest of the house, the tables set with expensive china that only came out for occasions like this. As everyone settled in, I took my usual seat across from Lisa. Unfortunately, dinner started as it always did. Polite conversation, updates about work, forced laughter at bad jokes, and underneath it all the tension simmered. It always did, and I could already tell that tonight it was going to boil over, because Lisa had that look in her eye, and I knew without a doubt. But before the night was over, she was going to try to make me regret showing up. Dinner was in full swing, plates clinked, wine glasses clashed in lazy toasts, and conversations overlapped in a comfortable hum. At least for most people. I focused on my plate, keeping my head down, and staying out of the usual family small talk. It was always the same. Uncle Mark talking about his golf game, Aunt Rachel gushing over some new home project, and Cousin Ethan chiming in every now and then, to keep things flowing. And then of course there was Lisa. She was in rare form tonight, laughing just a little too loud, making grand hand gestures like she was the most interesting person in the room. And as expected, the moment the conversation lulled, she turned her attention to me. "So Sophia," Lisa said, leaning forward slightly. Her wine glass dangled between her fingers. I could already see where this was going. "Still working that 9 to 5 grind, huh?" I chewed slowly, pretending to be deeply interested in my mashed potatoes. "Yep," I said simply. Lisa sighed dramatically, setting her glass down. "That must be exhausting. I mean, working all the time, saving every penny, stressing about money. I don't know how you do it." There it was, Ethan sitting beside me, shifted uncomfortably in his seat, could feel his second hand, embarrassment radiating off him, but he, like everyone else, said nothing. I shrugged. "Called being an adult. You should try it sometime." Lisa let out a laugh, but it was forced. She wasn't expecting pushback. Not this early in the night. "Oh come on, Sophia. You know what I mean," she said, waving a hand. "You're so practical, always saving, never spending. I just think it's a little sad, you know. Life is meant to be enjoyed." I resisted the urge to roll my eyes. "It's funny," I said, taking a sip of my drink. "I thought life was meant to be lived responsibly." Lisa smirked, tilting her head. Sure. But you've got a nice little stash saved up now, right?" I paused. There was the real reason she had started this conversation. "Why do you care?" I asked, keeping my tone light but guarded. Lisa leaned back, feigning innocence. "Oh, no reason. Just saying you've always been the responsible one. I bet you've got enough tucked away to splurge a little." Right, I didn't answer right away, but I could feel everyone at the table stiffened slightly. They all knew Lisa too well. This wasn't just idle conversation. This was her warming up for something. I could already tell where it was going. She was fishing, and the worst part, she was just getting started. Lisa didn't let the conversation die. She leaned forward, resting her chin on her hand, her eyes gleaming with something between curiosity and calculation. "Come on, Sophia," she said, her voice dripping with forced charm. "We're family, no need to be so secretive. I mean, I heard from Aunt Rachel that you've been really smart with your money. Probably got a nice little savings cushion by now, huh?" "There it was," you forced a casual shrug. "I do okay." Lisa's smirk widened. "See, that's great. That's exactly why I wanted to talk to you." She turned slightly, making sure everyone at the table could hear her. But her voice dropped just enough to make it seem like this was some kind of intimate, personal discussion between just the two of us. "I've been thinking about upgrading my car. You know, something a little newer, more reliable. You know how it is. Things have been tough lately." I didn't react. I just kept eating, waiting for her to say it. She took that as an invitation to continue. "I was thinking maybe you could help me out a little. Nothing crazy, just a small loan, you know. Family, I pay you back obviously." She laughed lightly, twirling her fork between her fingers. "You've got it good now. And it wouldn't be a big deal for you, right?" The table went dead silent. Ethan shifted beside me. Uncle Mark cleared his throat and focused on his plate. Aunt Rachel took a slow sip of wine. No one looked at me. No one looked at her. This wasn't the first time Lisa had pulled something like this. Tonight she was bold. She was making a show of it, trying to put me on the spot in front of the entire family. I placed my fork down carefully. "Lisa," I said evenly, "I'm not in a position to be handing out money right now." Her smile didn't falter, but I saw the quick flicker of annoyance in her eyes. "Oh, come on. I know you've been doing well, just a little help. It's not like I'm asking for a fortune." I folded my hands together, meeting her gaze, and "I'm saying no." Her expression tightened. "Wow," she said, laughing under her breath. "You're really going to act like that over a tiny bit of money?" I could feel the pressure in the room growing. Aunt Rachel let out a soft sigh, like she was preparing herself for what was coming next. Ethan rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. Uncle Mark shifted in his seat. They were waiting to see how I'd respond. Lisa leaned in slightly, lowering her voice just enough to sound conspiratorial. "Come on, Sophia. You're not struggling. You're doing better than a lot of us." She glanced around the table as if expecting support. "And we're family. Family helps each other out." I knew what she was trying to do. She was playing the guilt card, banking on the fact that I wouldn't want to look selfish in front of everyone. But I wasn't going to play along. I took a slow sip of my drink, keeping my voice light but firm. "Funny," I said, "I don't remember family being about pressuring each other for money." Her smile tightened. "Oh, don't be dramatic. It's not pressure. It's just a favor." "A favor," I repeat, tilting my head. "Like the time you borrowed money from Ethan and never paid him back. Or when you told Aunt Rachel you'd help with groceries. Conveniently forgot your wallet." Lisa's eyes flashed, but she quickly masked her irritation with another laugh. "Wow, someone's keeping track, huh?" I smiled back, mirroring her fake sweetness. "Well, when a pattern starts forming, it's hard not to notice." The tension was thick now. The others still weren't saying anything, but I could tell they were all listening closely. Lisa scoffed. Okay, I get it. You're not interested in helping. No need to be so cold about it." I could have left it there. I could have let her sit in the awkward silence she created. But I was tired. Tired of the manipulation, tired of the entitlement. Tired of letting her pull these stunts without consequences. So I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone and tapped the screen a few times. "You know what's funny, Lisa," I said, keeping my tone light. "I was actually thinking about family the other day, and I remembered something interesting." Lisa's brows furrowed slightly, but she kept her expression neutral. "Oh," I turned my phone toward her, the screen lighting up with an old message thread. "Explain this." Her face paled because right there in big bold letters was a text from a mutual friend. "Lisa's been talking about you again," she told everyone. "You're a total cheapskate and would never help family out even if they were dying. Said you act like you're better than everyone just because you're responsible with money." The table was completely silent. Faces' smile froze in place. She blinked rapidly, her mind scrambling for an escape. "That's okay, that's totally out of context, is it?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. "I was just venting. You know how people say things when they're frustrated." She laughed nervously, looking around the table for support. But no one came to her rescue. Aunt Rachel avoided eye contact. Uncle Mark's lips pressed into a thin line. Ethan looked at his plate like it was the most interesting thing in the world. Lisa swallowed, trying to recover. "Come on, Sophia. You're seriously bringing this up over one little favor?" One little favor, I repeated. You mean the money you were trying to guilt trip me into giving you, while trashing me behind my back? Lisa clenched her jaw. I could see the storm brewing in her eyes, but she had no way out. And for the first time she realized it. The air in the room felt thick heavy. No one was laughing now. No one was jumping in to smooth things over. Lisa had spent years getting away with things like this. Not tonight. She gripped her wine glass tighter, her knuckles turning white. I can't believe you'd humiliate me like this in front of everyone, she muttered, her voice shaking. I tilted my head. Oh, you mean like how you tried to embarrass me into giving you money? Her jaw tightened. I leaned back in my chair, exhaling slowly. Yeah, I thought so. Silence stretched across the table. Lisa looked like she wanted to say something else, but for once in her life, she didn't have the words. She had lost and she knew it. Lisa's face was frozen in an awkward half smile, but I could see the panic creeping in behind her eyes. She was cornered and she knew it. The rest of the table was completely silent. Aunt Rachel's fingers curled around her wine glass, her eyes flickering between Lisa and me. Uncle Mark had stopped eating, his fork hovering just above his plate, like he wasn't sure whether to take another bite or intervene. Ethan was the first to break the silence. He cleared his throat, shifting uncomfortably. Lisa, you never mentioned any of this." Lisa snapped her head toward him, her expression tightening. "Oh come on," she said, her voice a little too loud. "It's just some stupid text. People say things. Are we seriously going to make a big deal out of this?" I raised an eyebrow. "You made a big deal out of it when you tried to guilt trip me in front of the whole family." She let out a sharp laugh. "Wow, okay, so you're really holding on to this, huh? You always were a little sensitive. I felt something hot coil in my chest. Lisa had always done this. Gaslighting, twisting words, making it seem like the problem was never her. But the way I reacted, took a deep breath, keeping my voice even. "You know what's funny? You only ever reach out when you need something. It's never just a catch-up, never to check in. It's always about what I can do for you." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, don't be dramatic. It's not like that." I turned my phone toward her again, scrolling down to the second message. "Really, because here's another one. I wouldn't trust Sophia with $1, let alone ask her for help. But family always comes through in the end." Lisa's jaw clenched. Aunt Rachel sat up straighter. "Lisa," she said, her voice quieter now. "What is this?" Lisa huffed. "Oh my God, Mom, it's just talk. People say things when they're frustrated. Sophia is really going to sit here and act like she's never vented about me." I didn't look away. "If I did, I definitely wouldn't be asking you for money." Right after shut her up, the weight in the room shifted. I could feel it. For the first time, Lisa was losing control of the conversation. Uncle Mark let out a slow breath, rubbing his temples. "Lisa," he said, his voice tired, "this isn't just venting. You've been bad-mouthing your cousin, while expecting her to help you financially. You see how that looks?" Lisa's jaw worked like she wanted to argue, but she had nothing. No witty comeback. No half-baked excuse. For the first time in a long time she was stuck. I leaned forward slightly. "And let's be honest, Lisa. You never actually planned to pay me back, did you?" That hit its mark. I saw it in the way she stiffened, the way her lips pressed together. She had nothing. Ethan let out a low whistle. "Wow, that's rough." Lisa whipped her head toward him. "Are you seriously taking her side right now?" He held up his hands. "I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying this isn't a great look." Lisa scoffed, shaking her head. "Oh my God, this is ridiculous. You all are acting like I committed some huge crime. I just needed a little help." "Excuse me for thinking family actually supports each other." "Family does support each other," I said calmly. "But family also respects each other. And I don't think you respect me at all." That landed harder than I expected. For a split second, something in Lisa's expression cracked. Aunt Rachel finally spoke again. Her voice softer now. "Lisa," she said carefully, "have you been struggling financially?" Lisa's eyes darted to her mother, then to her father. "No, I'm fine," Uncle Mark frowned. "Because if you're having issues you can talk to us. But trying to manipulate your cousin into giving you money is not the way to handle it." Lisa's grip tightened around her fork. She looked small now, her confidence shrinking by the second. I almost felt bad, almost. Lisa shook her head, pushing her chair back. "This is ridiculous. I don't need to sit here and be attacked over some stupid texts." Crossed my arms. "You weren't being attacked, Lisa. You were being held accountable." She let out a bitter laugh. "Right, well, congrats, Sophia, you win. You got to embarrass me in front of the whole family." Happy now, I met her gaze. "I'd be happier if you actually understood why this happened." She didn't answer. She just let out an exasperated breath, grabbed her phone off the table and stood up. You know what, screw this. And then just like that she stormed out. The room exhaled with her. Aunt Rachel rubbed her forehead looking exhausted. I don't even know what to say. Uncle Mark sighed. I think we all need some time to process this. Ethan let out an awkward laugh. Sioux Desert anyone. I shook my head standing up. I think I should get going. Aunt Rachel looked up, guilt all over her face. Sophia, I held up a hand. It's okay really, because for once it actually was okay. Lisa had spent years getting away with things like this. But not tonight. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like the black sheep. I felt like I had finally drawn a line. The house was eerily quiet after Lisa stormed out. For the first time all night, I could actually hear the soft hum of the air conditioning, the faint clinking of silverware, as Ethan awkwardly pushed food around his plate. No one knew what to say. Aunt Rachel let out a long shaky sigh. Well, she took a sip of her wine, more like a gulp, really, before setting the glass down with a soft clink. That could have gone better. Uncle Mark rubbed his temples, like he was nursing the beginnings of a headache. Or it could have gone a whole lot worse. I exhaled, suddenly feeling the weight of it all. The tension, the years of quiet resentment. Way Lisa had spent so long manipulating everyone into playing along with her version of reality. But this time she hadn't gotten away with it. Now I wasn't sure what came next. I should go, I said, pushing my chair back. Aunt Rachel's head snapped up. Sophia, wait. Her voice was softer now, hesitant. I didn't know about all of that. About what Lisa was saying behind your back. I shrugged, not really sure what to say. Would it have changed anything? Her lips pressed together. Uncle Mark ran a hand down his face, suddenly looking a whole lot older than he had an hour ago. I should have seen it sooner, he muttered. She's always had this way of twisting things, but I wanted to believe she'd grow out of it. I nodded. I understood that. I really did. Aunt Rachel's voice wavered slightly. We'll talk to her. I raised an eyebrow. And do you actually think that'll change anything? Silence. Aunt Rachel swallowed, looking down at the table. I don't know, she admitted, but I can't just pretend this didn't happen. For a second I almost felt bad for her. Lisa wasn't just my problem, she was theirs too. And maybe they hadn't created the entitled, manipulative person she had become, but they had definitely let it slide for too long. Maybe tonight was the first time they were really seeing it. Ethan, who had been mostly quiet through the whole ordeal, finally spoke. For what it's worth, he said, offering me a small sheepish smile, I think you handled that better than I would have. I snorted. Yeah, well, didn't feel great, he nodded. Still, she needed to hear it. I didn't respond, but I appreciated the sentiment. Aunt Rachel sighed again, rubbing her temple like she was trying to make sense of everything. We'll figure it out. I nodded, slinging my purse over my shoulder. Good luck with that, and then I left. The days after, I didn't hear from Lisa. Not that I expected to. What I did get were a few tentative messages from Aunt Rachel, mostly checking in, making small talk. Nothing directly about what happened, but I could read between the lines. She was testing the waters, seeing where we all stood. Now that the dust had settled, a few of my other relatives reached out too. Not in a big dramatic way, just little things. Text here, a quick call there. Hey, I heard what happened. Wow, that must have been awkward. Honestly, good for you. And the weirdest part, for the first time, I didn't feel like the black sheep of the family. It turned out, a lot of them had seen what Lisa was like. They just hadn't been the ones on the receiving end of it, so they never spoke up. And now that someone had, now that she had been called out, right in front of everyone, they weren't exactly rushing to defend her. As for Lisa herself, she must have still been licking her wounds, because she was shockingly silent. Until of course she wasn't. A week later I got a text from her. Lisa, wow, really mature of you to air out personal stuff in front of everyone. You completely humiliated me. I stared at the screen, debating whether or not to even respond. Then another one came in. Lisa, and for what? To make yourself look good. Hope it was worth it. Because you just ruined this family. I actually laughed out loud at that one. I ruined the family. That was classic Lisa, twisting reality, until she could paint herself as the victim. I typed out a response. Me, Lisa, I didn't ruin anything. You did that all on your own. I hit send and left it at that. No arguing, no explanations, was done. The new normal. Lisa and I didn't talk after that. She didn't block me, and I didn't block her. But we both knew that whatever weird, dysfunctional cousin dynamic we had had before, it was dead, and honestly I was fine with that. The next time there was a family gathering, Lisa wasn't there. No one really talked about it. And I need you to say yes before I lose the nerve, she said, laughed, trying to lighten the mood. That's a pretty intense way to start a conversation. She took a deep breath. I want you to be my surrogate. I felt my whole body tense up. Wait, what? You're my twin net. The baby would technically be half mine anyway. It would be like I'm carrying my own child just. Through you I stared at her, waiting for her to laugh and say she was joking. But she wasn't. Emma, I said carefully, you know I don't want kids. She rolled her eyes. Wouldn't have to raise it, just carry it for me. 9 months, that's all I'm asking. I hesitated. I'd be more than happy to donate eggs if that's what you need. But pregnancy, I don't think I can do that. Her whole face changed. Her expression twisted into something dark. Something I'd never seen before. Oh, I get it, she snapped. You're just being selfish, Emma. It's my body. You can't be mad at me for having boundaries. Boundaries, she scoffed. This is a small thing. A tiny sacrifice for your own sister. I tried to calm her down, but she wasn't listening. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. For days she sent me texts. Pictures of childhood journals, where she'd written about being a mom. Vision boards of the nursery she'd been planning since college. You ruining my life, one message read. I hope you know that. Lucas told me not to let it get to me, but how could I not? Emma and I have never gone this long without speaking, and it hurt in a way I couldn't even describe. I started wondering if I should just give in. Maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. Maybe I was being selfish. But then things got even weirder. A few days later, my dad invited us all to his house for our usual football night. I hadn't seen Emma since our fight, so I was already dreading it. When we walked in, she was sitting there with Josh, her arms crossed, her face unreadable. Josh didn't even look at me. He greeted Lucas with a nod, but when I said hello he just stared. My dad sighed. All right, let's get this out now so we can actually enjoy the game. I took a deep breath. Emma, I did some research. Even if I wanted to do this, doctor wouldn't let me. Surrogates need to have carried a successful pregnancy before. I haven't. She waved a hand. That's a dumb rule. We just go somewhere else. There are clinics that don't care. I blinked. What? Josh finally spoke. You tell them we're the couple. That way they'd approve it. My dad's face turned red. Are you serious? You want my daughter to lie to a medical facility? Josh scoffed. It's just paperwork. Lucas tensed beside me. That's fraud. Then Josh's expression twisted. You know what? I'm done with this. Stop making excuses, Natalie, just admit it. You don't give a damn about your sister. I flinched. That's not true. Then prove it. He slammed his fist on the table. Help her, or are you just some selfish enough? My dad interrupted. You do not get to come into my house and speak to my daughter like that. Josh sat back seething. Emma grabbed my hand, her nails digging into my skin. Please, Nat, I'm begging you. And for the first time I admitted it out loud. I'm scared, I whispered. I don't want to be pregnant. I don't want to risk dying. Emma's breath hitched. She let go of my hand like I'd burned her. The silence was deafening. Josh stood abruptly. Let's go. He stormed out and Emma hesitated before following. But just before she left she turned back. You don't get it, do you? Her voice was raw. You never will. I watched her go, my heart and my throat. I thought that would be the end of it. But I was wrong. Because that night when I left my dad's house, I found 2 flat tires in my passenger window. Smashed in, and I had a sinking feeling that this was just the beginning. I should have taken the smashed window and slashed tires as a warning. At the time I tried to rationalize it. Maybe some random vandalism, maybe just bad luck. But deep down I knew it wasn't random. And as much as I wanted to believe, Emma wouldn't go that far. The look Josh had given me at dinner haunted me. That man hated me, and for what? For having a functioning uterus. Called my dad after I found my car trashed. He was furious, cursing under his breath as he came outside to check. Lucas was right beside me, already on the phone with our insurance. You think it was them? My dad asked. I shrugged, but I wasn't fooling anyone. I don't know. Lucas shook his head. It's just too much of a coincidence. My dad exhaled sharply, running a hand down his face. Staying in my place tonight, I wanted to argue. I had work in the morning, and I wasn't about to let Josh or Emma scare me out of my own damn home. But the truth was, I was scared and things were about to get worse. Next morning I woke up to a missed call from Emma. For a split second I felt relief. Maybe she was calling to apologize. Maybe she'd finally realized how insane this all was. But when I called back she didn't answer. Hours passed. I went about my day, trying to shake the lingering unease. But when I pulled into my apartment complex after work, I noticed a car I didn't recognize sitting across the street. A black sedan with tinted windows. I hesitated. Maybe I was being paranoid. But as I got out of my car, The driver's side window rolled down, just enough for me to see the man behind the wheel, Josh. My stomach dropped. I didn't even think. I turned around and went right back to my car, locking the doors as fast as I could. My heart was pounding so hard, I could feel it in my throat. Josh didn't move, he just sat there staring at me. I grabbed my phone and dialed Lucas. "Hey babe, I think Josh is outside my apartment." Silence. "Then what?" "He's just sitting in a car watching me." Lucas didn't hesitate. "Stay in your car. I'm on my way." I sat there for what felt like forever, gripping the steering wheel, like it was the only thing keeping me tethered to reality. I tried to convince myself I was overreacting, that maybe he just happened to be here. Then he rolled his window down the rest of the way. "Hey Nat," he called, his voice disturbingly casual. I didn't answer, just wanted to talk. I swallowed hard. "I don't want to talk to you, Josh," he sighed, shaking his head like I was some petulant child. "I get that you're mad, but you really need to think this through." Clenched my jaw. "Think what through this whole baby situation. It's not that complicated. You could fix this." My blood ran cold. "Fix what?" I opened my mouth to respond, but Lucas's car came screeching into the parking lot, and just like that Josh sped off. Lucas jumped out, looking around wildly. "Where is he gone?" My voice barely came out. Lucas exhaled sharply, then turned to me. "That's it, you're not staying here anymore." I didn't argue, because for the first time, I truly believed Josh was dangerous. That night I packed a bag and officially moved into Lucas's apartment. I called my dad and told him what happened, and he was livid. He wanted to go straight to Emma's house, but I begged him not to. "I don't want to escalate things," I said. He huffed. "Natalie, it's already escalated." And he was right, because the next day, while Lucas was at work, I went to get coffee, and I noticed another car following me, a red one this time. At first I told myself I was imagining it, but when I started taking random turns and the car kept following, my stomach twisted into knots. So I did the only thing I could think of. I drove straight to the police station. As soon as I pulled into the lot, the red car turned off down another street. I sat there for a long time, gripping the steering wheel, my breath coming in shallow gasps. This wasn't a coincidence. Someone was following me, and I had a sinking feeling I knew who was behind it. I finally decided to reach out to Emma. I sent her a simple text: "Josh is scaring me. Please tell him to stop." She didn't reply, but later that night she called me. When I answered, she was sobbing. "Natalie," she choked out. I sat up straight. "Emma, what's wrong?" She took a deep breath. I followed him." I frowned. "What do you mean I followed Josh?" she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I had to know. And Nat, he is following you. He's been doing it for days." My heart slammed against my ribs. I knew it. "Emma, he's losing it. Said you need to get away from him." She didn't respond. "Emma," finally she spoke. "They said I killed our baby." I blinked. "What, my in-laws?" She whispered. "At dinner last week. They said I was a murderer, that I let the baby die." I felt sick. And then she said something that made my blood run cold. "When Josh didn't defend me, I asked him why, and he said." She let out a shaky breath. "He said it was true. That I did kill our baby. And that the only way to fix it is to have another one." I clenched my jaw. "So that's why he's so obsessed with me having his kid. He said it's the only way he'll ever be happy again." Silence. Then Emma broke down completely. "I thought this was my idea, Nat. I thought I wanted this. But it was him. It was always him." I squeezed my eyes shut. "You need to leave him, Emma." More silence. Then finally she whispered, "I know." I exhaled. "Good." But just as I started to feel a tiny sense of relief, Emma spoke again. Nat, her voice was barely audible. "I have to tell you something." I braced myself. She took a shuddering breath. "The night your apartment got broken into, it was Josh." I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. I'd known deep down. But hearing it from Emma made it real. I was in danger. Josh wasn't stopped. I had no doubt in my mind. He'd do anything to get what he wanted. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Josh watching me, following me, breaking into my home. It was real now. No more second guessing. No more wondering if I was overreacting. Josh was dangerous, and the worst part, Emma had known. She had known he broke into my apartment and didn't tell me right away. I wanted to be furious with her, but mostly I just felt sick. Lucas held me the whole night, rubbing slow circles on my back, whispering reassurances. But even in his arms, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. And I was right, because the next morning Josh showed up at my job. I was at the airport going through my usual routine, when a security officer approached me. "There's a man at the front desk asking for you," he said. Says it's an emergency. I already knew who it was before I even asked Josh. I felt my hands go cold. What did he say? He claims he's your husband. And that something happened to your dad. Rage, pure white hot rage shot through me. He was playing with me. I took a shaky breath. He's lying, the officer frowned. Would you like us to remove him? Yes. My voice was steady now. And if he refuses to leave, call the police. I don't know what I expected him to do. But I sure as hell didn't expect this. Josh refused to leave. He started yelling, demanding to see me, insisting that I owed him a conversation. That's when airport security stepped in. They told him he needed to leave immediately. And that's when he snapped. He started screaming at the top of his lungs, calling me every name in the book. He was dragged out of the airport, in front of hundreds of people, kicking and shouting like a damn lunatic. And the best part, he got arrested for refusing to leave the premises. When I got home, Emma was waiting for me at Lucas's apartment. Her face was blotchy, eyes red and swollen. He's in jail, I told her, tossing my bag onto the couch. Maybe now you'll finally leave him. She flinched. Nat, no Emma. Enough, my voice broke. He has been stalking me, threatening me. He broke into my apartment, followed me to work, and nearly attacked me at a damn restaurant. And you knew about some of it and didn't tell me. She burst into fresh tears. I was scared. I'm scared too, Emma. But I didn't have the choice to ignore it. I've been living with a target on my back. Because your husband decided that my body belonged to him. Can you let it get this far? She looked away, ashamed. I'm leaving him. I searched her face. For real this time? She nodded. I already talked to a lawyer. I have a prenup, so it shouldn't be too hard. But I think he's going to fight it. I scoffed. Of course he is. Her voice wavered. And I think he blames you for it. I sighed, dragging a hand down my face. I don't care as long as you're done with him. That's all that matters. She nodded, her lip trembling. Then in a whisper she said, I'm sorry, Nat. And for the first time since this whole nightmare started, I believed her. But Josh wasn't finished. A few days after he got out on bail, I woke up to a text from an unknown number. You think this is over? I always get what I want one way or another. I showed it to Lucas, my hands shaking. He grabbed my phone, took a deep breath and muttered, that's it. He called my dad, then he called the police. The problem was, since the texts were coming from random numbers, the cops said there wasn't much they could do, unless he acted on his threats. Couldn't prove it was him. So what, I just have to wait until he does something? I snapped at the officer. The guy sighed. Look, I know it's frustrating, but we need solid proof. I felt helpless, but Lucas had a plan. The next day Lucas and I went out for dinner. And guess what? Josh followed us. We didn't acknowledge him. We didn't do anything to tip him off. But as soon as we pulled into our third location of the night, an unmarked police car flipped on its lights behind him. He was pulled over and arrested for violating a restraining order that Emma had filed earlier that morning. And the best part, when the police searched his car, they found his phone. The same phone that was used to send me all those threats. It's been a week since Josh was arrested, and I finally feel like I can breathe again. Emma is staying with our dad while she finalizes the divorce. She's broken, but I hope she'll be okay. Lucas and I are stronger than ever. And me, I finally feel safe. I don't know what's going to happen with Josh. Maybe he'll get out. Maybe he'll try something again. But for now I'm just taking it one day at a time. And I will never let anyone make me feel powerless again.